Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today I'm bringing to you a super exciting video that I have been wanting to bring you for a while, but I wanted to nail this process down, and I have. Today's video is called the One Roll Wonder Wreath. This is a recipe Shannon and I have been using for quite a while, and what we love about it is it uses one roll of mesh, okay? I remember standing in the aisles of the home decor section and going, how many rolls of mesh do I need? How many of this do I need? I'm fixing to take all that away for you, okay? One roll of mesh, let me move this way. My camera's backwards, so I apologize. You will need one roll of mesh and three other things. And let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? We're gonna be using one ribbon, another ribbon, and something called tubing, okay? These three items are the other things you need to make this happen, literally. It doesn't have to be tubing. It can be three other ribbons. It can be three skinny ribbons. It can be three thicker ribbons. It can be even thicker ribbon than this. It can be berries. It can be flowers. It can be, you just need three things and you can mix that up how you want it, okay? So for example, if you were gonna use flowers instead of tubing for some texture, where I'm going to be using 6 pieces of tubing for this wreath, you just need 5 or 6 flowers, if that makes sense, okay? All right, so let me show you the process. It's easy, y'all. I'm telling you. All right, you're going to need a form. Now, let me talk to you about the form, okay? These are the ones we carry in our store, and the reason I like them is they are different. Do you see how this is lifted up? Put my hand under it. I don't know if that even helps. It is not flat. A lot of them come flat, and that changes the look of your wreath. By having this lift, it makes a beautiful wreath, all right? So you're gonna need some measurements, and I've got my ruler and a piece of tape, and here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna measure out a piece of tape that's 10 inches. 10 inches is going to be the longest measure you're gonna need for this project, okay? So on my table, I'm just gonna stick down a piece of blue tape that's 10 inches. Now, if you ever buy a wreath kit from us where the kit comes completely assembled and we do a video showing you how to put it together, you get a ruler in your pack, but if you don't have one, here's what you do. You go to your little ruler. This is my 10-inch tape. I'm a little bit off, so I'm just gonna make a line that lets me know that's 10 inches, okay? I need an 8-inch mark and a 7-inch mark. That's all I need. And if you need to write that, you can. 7, 8, 10. Those are my marks. All right. And that's what you'll use for this wreath. 7 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches. So let's start with the mesh. So I'm going to get my wreath form. I've got a helper in here today, thank goodness. Here's my wreath form. My form has 18 spots on it. Okay. So that's how we've worked this method out, or this recipe out. We call it a recipe. It's really just the process, I guess. You're going to take this one roll of mesh, okay? And the first thing you want to do is you want to scrunch this end and put it into a twist, okay? So I'm going to use lingo today. These are called twists. This is our mesh. I'm going to place it down into the bottom of that twist. See how I'm pushing it all the way into the bottom? That's what you want to do because it gives you a poofier wreath. And then I just twist that twice to hold it in place. I'm going to open that back up, so I'm not trying to secure it for the permanent at this point. I just need to get it out of the way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that twist. I'm going to put it on the edge of my blue tape. I'm going to run my mesh down to my 10-inch mark on my tape, and I'm going to scrunch. Now I want to show you this. My 10-inch mark is inside my hand, all right? So what I want to do is I want to go to my next set of twists, which is this guy right here. I'm going to open it up, and on the inside of my hand, because that's my 10-inch mark, I'm going to squish that down in to my twist and close it twice. Now what that does, it leaves me this pile of mess right here. What you want to do is as you go, make your poof. You just want to open that up so that it poofs like that. Beautiful, right? Now I want to pause for 1 second and say this to you. If you want to start on the top, watch this video first, then you can start on the top if you want. I don't know why, but Shannon and I have this habit of starting on the bottom. It's just how we do things, okay? So now what I'm going to do is take that twist, lay it over my blue tape, bring my hand down, scrunch to my 10-inch mark, okay? Remembering 10 inches on this side. Open my next twist, press it down inside, close it twice. And then, you guessed it, fix our poof. All right, so we've got mesh, poofs, twists, those are our terms so far, okay? Now I'm going to continue this process. 10-inch poofs in every twist. This is how we start the basis of our one roll wonder. Now I'm going to turn on some Christmas music, let you guys enjoy that while I keep this process all the way around the bottom. Okay, so I have put, I'm gonna bring this into the screen here. I've put a poof in every bottom piece, a 10-inch poof. Okay, so now I'm gonna teach you what I call going upstairs, okay? And that's where we're gonna take this extra mesh that's still attached to our roll and move it upstairs. You don't have to do this. You can cut it off and do it, but this is just how we do it. It just keeps the flow going and I don't have to get my scissors out. So what I do is I open up the nearest twist to me, okay? And I'm gonna take my mesh and I'm just pulling it up and putting it inside of that twist right here. Now don't worry, I'm gonna hold this up to show you what I'm doing. All I did was just go upstairs. That little twist is hiding it. I just pulled it up and locked it in. That's all I did. Now I'm just gonna hover my wreath form over my ruler, which is underneath my tape. And now I wanna make 8-inch puffs. So I'm putting my hand out to the 8-inch mark, and up here, we're gonna put 8-inch puffs in instead of 10-inch puffs. Now, why is that? Let me tell you. Shannon and I discovered with these wreaths, it's better for them to be wide than tall. And if you've ever gotten a mesh wreath or ever made one, you know what I'm talking about. Width does not matter on your door. You're probably never gonna make it too wide for your door. But if you have a screen door, or if you wanna put it in a place where it doesn't kind of just stick completely out, you don't wanna use a 10-inch puff on top and a 10-inch puff on the bottom because they get taller, okay? They just step up. So that's why we went with 8 inches up here. And I'm doing the same thing, going to the end of my tape, finding my 8-inch mark, opening up a twist, putting my 8-inch puff in, and closing it down. Now on the top you have less twist, so this goes faster, but it is literally the same process. So I'm just gonna run around and put my 8-inch twist at the top. So why the one roll wonder wreath? Well, let me tell you why. Shannon and I both have discovered this about ourselves. I don't mind having extra ribbon laying around my house, but I don't like when I buy mesh and I have little pieces and parts of mesh left over because it's harder for you to be able to do the math to know if you have enough little pieces and parts to complete another wreath. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. Now, seasoned wreath makers can know. They can look at a mesh and go, half of that roll is plenty, I can use it here, etc. But for me, I don't want to have any mesh left over. Another thing, I don't like having to wonder, how many rolls of mesh do I need? Do I need 2 different colors, etc., etc.? Let me say this to you. If you wanted to make this in multiple colors of mesh, you just buy 2 rolls and make 2 wreaths, and you can mix the colors. You'll see how to do that. All right, so I'm back to the beginning. This is where I stepped up here. So what I'm gonna do is open that twist up, and I want you to notice that my step is not coming out. That mesh is gonna stay in place for me. I'm gonna put my last one in, and this completes my circle. All right, so now I wanna make sure my pieces are poofed, and I will tell you this about a mesh wreath. Just trust me on this. They look bad at this point. You will be like, I'm not doing a good job. This looks rough. It will look rough until we complete it. Okay, so you have to keep going. So I'm going to take my scissors at this point, and where my mesh is still attached, I'm going to come out about 2 inches, just enough so that it doesn't pop through my twist. I want it to stay in securely. And then watch. I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to hack it away. Hack it off. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. And look, that little piece is going to hide in and you are never going to see it. And I even challenge you at the end of this to be able to find it, because when we're done, you won't find it. So there's step 1, covering your wreath form. I'll put that out of the way. Now, the next part of our one roll wonder is what's left on this roll. Let me show you. So I'm going to roll this up so you can see how much I have left. This is what I mean by I do not like having this piece of a roll in my cabinet because I never know for sure if it's going to cover another wreath. Sometimes it will. Sometimes there's enough on here to do it, and sometimes I'll be just short. Also, remember how I told you how airy this wreath was? I don't want it airy. I want it to be full and beautiful, so I'm going to use the rest of my mesh. Now, if you wanted to do 2 colors, this is where you would mix your colors, okay? So I have the red on my form. Say I wanted to use white loops, I would change to white at this point, and I would have enough left of 2 rolls to make another wreath. I think that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna roll this out. Now here's what you're gonna do. And you're gonna think this won't work, but listen, this is a tried and true process. You're gonna cut the rest of this mesh down to 7 inches. That's why you need the 7-inch mark, okay? And I want you to pay attention to something. Do you see all this jaggedness? I am counting that in my 7 inches. You'll see why. All right, so I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna make my first cut at 7 inches. If you use this check mesh that we offer in the store, you will be in heaven. This is the best mesh in the world. I love it. And all I'm gonna do is go through here and cut every single bit of this down to 7 inches. You don't want to have anything left that's not on this wreath. Let me talk to you about the things you're going to add to the wreath. So I like to have, like I showed you, 3 things: 3 ribbons, 2 ribbons and a tubing, 2 ribbons and some flowers, something like that. And then I like to have a sign or a plushie or something that can go in the middle of my wreath. That's how simple this is. You'll be making wreaths for every occasion. I'm telling you, this will take all of the mystery out, and you'll just be like, I can make a wreath so fast and easy. Oh, I should tell you, you can totally use your rotary tool here. We just don't need it for this. This mesh is just so good, and I can just kind of run my scissors down. You don't really need your rotary tool, but however you cut your mesh, that's how you cut it down to 7 inches. Y'all know I like to show people that don't have a lot of fancy tools how to get the same results. So this is a piece of blue tape and scissors, y'all. That's literally your tools. We went real fancy. This is my last piece on the roll, and I want to show you this. I'm going to lay this out. There is a good chance I won't be able to get 2 pieces out of this, 2 7-inch pieces. So instead of trying, what I do is I cut this in half. It'll still work. You gotta trust me. You gotta go with the flow on this one. So I'm just gonna take this one and cut it in half because I would rather get 2 decent sized pieces than 1 little puny piece. Make sense? Okay, so let's count these pieces. Now this is important. You're gonna wanna count how many you have left. So let me pull all mine out so I can get a count. So I was able to get 21 pieces of mesh. They're laying over here to the side. Now I want to show you the difference in what you get. These pieces are pieces that I cut early off the roll, and see how they barely have an angle to them. This piece is a piece that came off the roll like at the end, and it's kind of fitted to the spool of the roll, okay? This is what we're creating. We're just going to roll these into what we call loops, okay? So these are your loops. These bigger pieces we're going to do the same thing with. I just wanted to show you how some will be flatter and some will be rounder. Now, I told you earlier, my wreath form has 18 twists, okay? I got 21 pieces of mesh. I got 21 pieces of mesh. So that means I can put 1 loop into every twist, and then I can have 19, 20, and 21. I can have 3 extras to put somewhere else. Okay, so what we like to do first is take our loop, okay? I'm going to grab it in the center and scrunch it like that. I'm going to open a twist, doesn't matter which one because we're going to put one in every one. I'm going to place this down in and I'm going to twist it twice. Again, I'm going to open this back up, so I'm not hiding it yet. I'm just putting it in place. Now see how we get these little loops? This adds the cutest texture to your wreath, and it really gives you the look of 3 wreaths in one. And here's what I mean. It gives you the look of the poof, it gives you the look of the loop, and you even get the look of the ruffle by the time it's done, okay? So we're gonna turn that. I'm gonna get another piece. I'm gonna make it a loop. I'm gonna open a twist and place it inside at the middle, okay? So scrunching down the middle, pressing it in, closing it up. Again, I'm gonna do this everywhere. This will give your wreath so much body. Now, when I was telling you if you wanted to do a 2-color wreath, this is where you would do that. Instead of putting the very same color in as my mesh, I just wanted a red wreath, and I wanted to use one roll. But if you wanted a 2-color wreath, this is the part you would change. So let's say I was making a red and white wreath. I've got my red base, and I would put white loops in, and then I could make a second wreath with a white base and red loops. I hope all of that makes sense. I'm trying to tell you every single little thing we've ever thought of. All right, I'm going to run around. I'm going to put one of these in every single twist, and we'll get right back together. I keep saying that we're going to get right back together, but I keep thinking of things I want to tell you. And one of the things is this wreath comes from this idea in my head. If I could just have a simple recipe, and every time I go to the store or I go online to shop and I know, hey, this is what I'm looking for, a roll of mesh, 3 rolls of ribbon, and a sign. If I could have that, it opens up the world of every kind of holiday wreath I want. And that's where this came from. We wanted you guys to be able to go, I can make a wreath. You could make them and sell them. They are beautiful enough to sell. Like, I just wanted to take all of the mystery out. My mother has gotten into making wreaths, and she's that person. If I can just give her a list of what she needs and her measurements, it makes life so easy for her. I'm even going to tell you the measurements. It's so easy for your ribbons and things. So that's why we wanted to bring this to you today. So let me finish. I promise I will actually finish this time before we get back together. So I have 3 twists left. I put one in every one. I've got 3 twists left, and I want to show you this one. Remember that old jaggedy one I told you about? We're going to use him, and here's how. We're going to take the jagged edge and roll it inside and hide it and make a loop. And I promise you, you will never see that. Now, as you know, I've already put a twist in every single one of these. That doesn't matter. All we're going to do now is just find us 3 spots to add these last 3 loops. And all it will do is make your wreath look that much fuller. The other thing I really love about this technique is it's not too full. I know it may seem like we're putting a lot on, even with the ribbons and stuff, but this recipe does not get too full. This one stays a really good size. So we're actually done with our tape now. I'm just going to pick mine up because I don't need it, and then you guys won't have to look at it. That's all we needed that measurement for, okay? These are the ribbons I'm going to use. And I'm going to use the mesh, but I'll show you the mesh in a second. I want to show you what I'm putting on my wreath as a little adornment. I love this little tag. We have a few of these in store, not many. We'll make them, we'll put them on for you guys if you want to get them. I think they're so cute. But I'm going to use this little tag. So that's what I've done. I've picked 3 elements, 2 ribbons, a tubing, which I showed you my tubing. I'll show you again in case you forgot what I'm talking about. My tubing, and then a tag or a sign to go across the middle, okay? Now, the recipe for your ribbon is this. You need, if you have 18 twists like I do, okay, because I have 18 twists in my wreath form, you need 6 pieces of one, 6 pieces of another, and 6 pieces of your third element, whatever it may be. These need to measure 36 inches. We have found this is the best recipe, okay? So 36 inches 6 times, 36 inches 6 times, and we'll talk about the mesh in a minute. If you're only using ribbons, you'll just have 3 ribbons, and you'll do 6 at 36, 6 at 36, and 6 at 36. Isn't that easy? That's all you gotta know. There's your recipe. So we already cut all our ribbons for this particular wreath, but I want to teach you how to dovetail your ribbon, okay? So I've got an extra piece here. Notice it's the whole piece that I have in the camera. Here's what you do. You're going to match up your cut ends. So I'm going to take my cut ends and match them up like this. And when I turn it to the side, you'll see I just have a loop. I'm not trying to fold this. Just let that live like that. But here's my cut ends, okay? What I want to do is I want to take my wired edges and fold them to each other, just like so. And then I want to cut from the fold to the edge of the wire on an angle. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut on an angle from the fold to the wire. And when I do that, I get these really pretty dovetail pieces and both ends match because I did them at the same time. okay? So that's how we do all our pieces. We prep them with dovetail. Now back to the wreath form. Again, it's a simple process, okay? I'm gonna start, oh, I need to cut my tubing. All right, so let's talk tubing. So this one may make your head hurt. But I'm going to try to explain it super easy. This is how Shannon and I have discovered this works the best. The packages of tubing that we have are 10 feet, 10 yards.
10 yards.
The packages of tubings we have are 10 yards, okay? And we find there's typically 2 pieces in here. So if I start to separate this, I'll probably have a piece stay behind. Oh, look, there's 1 piece in this one. Yeah, it's only 1 piece. No, it's not. Nope. I got excited for nothing. Nope, here it is. Okay, so here's my big piece. And then I also have this little piece. I'm going to put the little piece aside. I don't need that right now. May not need it at all, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this guy and cut it down into equal sections. And let me show you how. I only need 6 pieces of this, okay? So I'm going to find the ends of my tubing. Okay, could not see it. So here's my 2 ends of my tubing, okay? I'm going to put those together. Then I'm going to take my hand, holding these together. I'm going to run down and I want to find the middle. Now, here's what you don't want to do with tubing. You do not want to stretch it. It will distort if you stretch it. Watch what happens. Let me make sure I'm in camera good so you can see me watch. See how it distorts? We want to keep that poof, okay? But I have found the middle here, and I'm going to cut that. So now my tubing is 2 pieces. Now let's make it 4 pieces. So I'm going to take these ends, and I'm going to find my other ends that I started with, okay? They are these guys right here. I'm going to line all 4 of my ends up and now find my middle again. You're just basically doing middle, middle, middle until you get at least 6 pieces. And here we go. So I'm going to cut these guys. So now I have 4 pieces. Okay. So what I want to do now is find my other ends, which it gets easier and easier because they get shorter and shorter. Look, somehow I got off. I'm not going to stress. You don't need to stress about this. Trust me. Just line these guys up. Now this is 8 ends. So I'm going to go find this end, which is right here. And look, they don't match. Just cut them apart. I promise tubing is the most forgiving thing you'll work with. It's more forgiving than mesh, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, so let's see what we ended up with. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only need 6 pieces, so I'm going to pull 2 out and add them to my other piece. God bless you. I'm going to add them to that extra piece I got. I can use them somewhere else. And tubing is an item I don't mind having left over because I can look at it and tell how much I have, okay? So let's start decorating our wreath with our 3 elements. So pull this guy back over. So I'm going to start with my big ribbon. It doesn't matter what you start with as long as you alternate. So I want to teach you how we make our bows, okay? This is our ribbon. We start with what we call the awareness ribbon crossover. So that means we want to cross this ribbon over so that it looks like, I got to get in camera. So we want to cross this over so that it looks like an awareness ribbon. You see how I did that? The only thing I'm going to pay attention to lengthwise is that my tails are slightly longer than my loops, which we're fixing to make. So to make this, you're going to grab this back piece here, okay? And you're going to place it underneath where your ribbon crosses over. So I'm going to take the back and place it underneath. When you do that, do you see how poofy it makes my little loops because I pushed that ribbon under the cross? That's what you want to do. Now I want to pay attention. Are my loops, or are my tails slightly bigger than my loops? I think these are a little too big, so I'm going to adjust them a little bit. I just want them to be slightly bigger than the loops. Can you see that? And now we're going to pleat the center. And we just kind of take our fingers and just kind of pleat this up. You can just gather it. It really doesn't matter, but we just tend to pleat. And this is what we are creating, okay? Then I'm going to go to the top row, and I'm going to open one of my twists, and I'm going to take this bow, and I'm going to push it down inside of my twist, and then close my twist on top. Now I'm going to close them twice, and this is the last element that's going into this spot, which means I can now hide my twist, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my twist to the back of the wreath. I'm just picking them up and pushing them down, both of them to the back. And you just open the loops and send them through. And then what we like to do, which is hard to explain, I'm going to try to explain it. We take our thumb and we place it on the knot of the twist, okay? And with our hand underneath the form, I'm going to press that down and watch what happens. See how I brought my loops together? That's how we hide our center pieces, okay? And it also poofs up our bow. So you won't see the middle, all right? And if you do, it's not the end of the world because it's red and white and it's gonna match everything you're doing. Trust me, it'll all blend when it's done. So I've done one of my ribbons. I'm gonna go to the next twist and do another ribbon. Now here you have to decide, do I want it to be ribbon, ribbon, tubing, or do I want it to be ribbon, tubing, ribbon, okay? I think I'm just gonna do ribbon, ribbon, tubing. I think that'll turn out cute. So I'm gonna take another ribbon. I'm gonna make myself the awareness bow. I'm gonna start out that way, just like we did a while ago. Put the cross behind. It's easy with this little guy, right? Pleat this guy up. Open up my next twist. Place him inside. Push him down in there, okay? And then close it. And again, I'm through opening this, so I'm gonna tuck it down inside and get rid of it. And then I'm gonna press that middle down, which will help to bring this up, and it'll also help to open my poofs up. Look how beautiful. It's already so pretty, all those ribbons. Okay, now it's tubing time. I wanna show you this one and make sure you see it. Tubing time. There is no set formula for this. You just make some loops. You can have 3 loops. You can have 4 loops. You can have 6 loops. Whatever your tubing will do. Mine looks like it's gonna do 4, okay? All I wanna make sure of is that I have enough tails here that the twist will lock it down. See that? It's super cute. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna open up another twist. I'm gonna place this down inside. I'm going to close the twist on it to lock it in place. Hide my twist into the back. By the way, you don't even have to hide your twist. What some people do is they take like a pencil and wrap the twist around the pencil and make them another texture in the wreath. And that's cute too. All right, so you see that? I get this little poof of white. It's so cute. Now, you have enough in that package that you can typically make these even longer, but I kind of like for them to be about the size of my mesh. I think they look good like that. All right, so we're gonna continue on. Next one, since I only have 3 elements, I started with this stripe. I want to continue to the stripe here. So I'm going to do the same process. Bow, gather, place. One thing I didn't say earlier is you'll notice we put our tails facing us. We put the tails out from the center. You're not trying to fill the center in this wreath, so you don't have to try to take everything to the middle. So we bring our tails out. Scrunch that down. Don't worry if you completely squish your bow because it's wired. All right, you guessed it. Next will be our second ribbon, which is our little plaid. I'm going to make my bow, gather it in the middle. My twist is already open. I opened it already. Twice around, hide my twists. So there is the placement of my top ribbons, okay? Now I'm gonna go to the bottom, and I'm gonna start right here. Now, because you're using 3 ribbons and you have 18 places, somebody's gonna line up at some point. It's not a big deal if they do. It won't stick out like a sore thumb. I know you're afraid that it will, but it won't. So here's what I like to do. I find myself a spot and I evaluate what's up here, okay? What I'm looking at here, let me get this in the camera good for you guys. I'm seeing a stripe, a plaid, and a twist. And a tubing. I don't want my stripes to be on top of each other as much as I can keep that from happening because that's my boldest ribbon. So what I'm going to do is start with my stripe far away from my stripe. Okay, so my stripe is over here. I'm going to add one down here on the bottom so they're not right under each other. Now they could still line up under each other at some point. That's fine. But if I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it. So I'm going to pick this little guy up. Same bow we've been making. I'm going to open my twist, place him inside exactly the same with the tails facing me again. And we are going to continue around the bottom of the wreath doing this same process, hiding our twist, squishing them down, opening our loops, and moving on to the next one. Same process all the way around. So here, since I started with my stripe, I'm going to do my plaid here. So I'm going to pick up my plaid ribbon, make my bow, and then place it inside. Those tails are a little long. There we go. These little guys are easy to do. Yeah. I like the thin ribbon. I like to mix the ribbon sizes. I think it looks cute when you're done. All right, I'm going to send that to the back. I'm going to send that to the back, squish it down, and keep going. And then we're going to do tubing next because that's the third thing in our elements. So we're going to open this one up, and we're going to add tubing to it. Okay, so now I have all of my ribbons and all of my tubing and everything inside. Now I want to show you something else you can do. This is not part of the recipe, but you can. Let's say you really like the way your tubing looks. I typically like the tubing a lot. I typically like more than I ever put in. All those pieces you have left of your tubing, you can go back and add those in if you want to make it fuller. So I'm going to add some more because I'm a big fan of tubing. You agree, Shannon?
It is cute.
I think it's beautiful when it's really, really full. This is not part of the recipe. You only need 3 elements, but if you have it left, rather than put it away, I'm going to add it. And it doesn't have to match up. It doesn't have to be like I have to have exactly enough, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just going to come in here and just build up where I've got them because I just think the texture really helps the wreaths. You could add anything you want at this point. If there's something else in your craft room you wanted to add in, I just love that pop of white in there. See, like this guy's a little puny for me. I'm going to add some more. I've got plenty. I say plenty. I've got several pieces left. Look, I'm not even measuring. I'm just going to add some. That's one thing I love about tubing or anything that's kind of another element. I love how easy it is to just add it. My plan is to put this in my downstairs hallway. So I'm making it for myself, so that's why I'm like, I'm going to add some stuff.
Oh, I want it to look like this.
I want it to look like this. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to let you guys just see me do it. See, I like that. I love a big old poof of that white. It's just so cute to me. And so I opened up where a bow was, and I'm going to add it. It won't matter. It'll still just blend in. Squish it down. And see, it just added a little bit of that white there. And I have, let's see. I have one more piece left. I'm not going to put it up. I'm going to use it. I think I will add it. I think I'll add this guy. He's a little puny. Y'all are seeing real life wreath making. When I don't have to do a kit, when I'm not making a kit for you to assemble and everything has to be, you know, the perfect size and come out just right, this is how I do it. If I have leftovers and I want to add it, I just add it. And I hope you guys will feel confident doing that as well. Love the extra white. All right, we got one more little piece. Where do I want to put him? Here, you're right. Shannon pointed it out. Look, I'm just going to make 2 loops, and now I have no tubing left in my stash. So when I go to the store, I know I need to get me some more tubing, or when I go online, I need to pick up some more tubing. You should just have tubing in your stash. If you're a wreath maker, tubing or some texture, you just need to have it in your stash. All right, that is the basis of my wreath, okay? So now I have all my ribbon and my tubing in place. Here's the thing about fluffing your wreaths. You can fluff them laying on the table all you want to, okay? But what's going to happen is when you take this to the door or wherever you're actually going to put it, that's when you're going to want to fluff it. Because when you stand it up, you see it completely different than laying down. So let me show you some sign options. These won't necessarily match, but I just want to show you what you can do. So these little wooden things like this, you can pick up anywhere. Just these little signs with the little twine on them. This can lay in here. It doesn't match. I know it doesn't match, but this can lay in here, and you take this little string and you open a twist and put it inside to hold it, and boom, you have a sign, a completely decorated wreath, right? Look at this guy. I think this one's beautiful. He's too big for us to ship because he's real big, but you can take this sleigh ride sign and using chenille stems, that's what we did with it. There's a hole over here and a hole over here. We just took chenille stems and we piped that on and tightened it to the wreath form underneath. So you can do that and get that beautiful wreath. I may have to do that. That may be the one that I actually end up using. Or something like this little tag. You could sneak over here to one side. At the top, I would tie a bow and put it at the top of this and just kind of have it hanging there. Look how cute that is. It's just very simple, easy to do. You could put anything in here. It doesn't have to be a sign. It can be, like I said, it can be a plush. You've seen the little plushies. There's all kinds of things you can do, but that gets you the basis of how to fill up your wreath. Imagine what you can do. I mean, every kind of ribbon, every kind of texture, every kind of everything, but it's one roll of mesh, 3 different elements and a sign or something to go in the middle or on it. Did I say it all? I think I did. Shannon's making sure I get it all right. So there you go, guys. The One Roll Wonder Wreath. I'm so excited to finally bring that to you. We love it. We use it in most of all of our wreath kits now are the One Roll Wonder. It makes things so easy. If you're interested in a wreath kit, I think we have 2 left. We had 3. I think there's 2. Shannon's going to check real quick to make sure. I think we have 2 left. We have the Santa and the reindeer, and very little of both. So if you're interested in one of those, go grab it. And oh, that's right. I got to tell you, they're not on the regular website. Thank you for telling me that. They're on the Maymay event site. I'll just link them in the description below. If you're interested in those wreath kits, I'll link them below. There you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. You know the rule. If you make a wreath of this kind or any other, we want to see it. Head to our customer gallery and show us what you're doing, especially the One Roll Wonder. You can also head to our Discord and you can join up and meet a bunch of crafters that are making all kinds of things and get inspiration and meet new friends and chat. It's so much fun. I'll put all these links in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Till next time. Bye-bye.